Quick question for you. Does my mustache look as cool as Aidan's? AOC, or Aidan O'Connell, the Las Vegas Raiders quarterback. He had 340 yards against the Chiefs. We basically beat the Chiefs until the last play and we fumbled the bag. Anyways, does it look cool like Aidan's? Mustache Monday in honor of Aidan O'Connell. That's not true. It's kind of in vogue right now, and I had some stubble and I trimmed it just to the mustache part, and I thought maybe I'll give it a go, And then the response has not been good. People don't really like it, but I feel like I can kind of hide behind it in public or relax into my face and I don't know, the power of a mustache or something. Anyways, welcome everybody, Raider Nation and everybody, to the Miles Burris show. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna upload this as a podcast because I want to have a podcast and it's America and you can do that. And I want to be able to bring on guests. I want to be able to tackle multiple topics and not just do these topical videos and edit this and put it up and channel for this and channel for that. And, obstacles I don't do well with. Technology in general I don't do well with. So I need one hood to do this human under, because that's what I am. The Miles Burris show is I'm a full human, not just some online brand of humans out there that forget who they really are. I'll be talking about football and film and fitness and family and farts and funny, I don't know, maybe other F words, and I'll try not to drop the F bombs. Working on that one. So, I think this is going to be a way, honestly, I thought deeply about this. Okay, I think I could get more content out to you if I'm doing it in this way, and then pull the videos from this and just something I want to be able to get out there, get more content to you, serve the audience, do what I can. And so that's enough about that. Today's going to be mostly about Raider Nation. First time I could sit down and do a video since our loss to the Chiefs on Friday. It does suck losing, especially when you kind of beat yourselves. But I was still really encouraged by how we played. There's always silver linings for the silver and black, as I like to say. Some of those being AOC and the mustache inspiration that he is. One, you're just happy for a guy. One, he broke his thumb. To come back his first game after breaking the thumb and get a chance to air it out. Ball looked good. 340 yards and 2 touchdowns worth of good. And two, to just know that he's a starting quarterback in this league. He is. And, that's not me saying that we shouldn't go tackle getting a quarterback in the offseason. I think we absolutely should. I just hope that he gets his fair shake and he gets the reins for the rest of the season. He gets to go and ball out for the rest of the season. So everybody knows when his time comes and his contract is about to be up or whatever, he gets a chance to go flourish under a team that's going to, rock with him for a few years. I think he's got a lot of great football in him, and he proved that on Friday, the Black Friday Prime game, which I didn't even know was a thing until this past Friday, because I'm like, when are the Raiders playing Friday? That's weird. Anyhow, speaking of that, I've been buying a whole bunch of stuff. I'm revamping this whole office, turn it into a nice little podcast, content creation type studio, so I can get more stuff out to you, but I'm not waiting for that. We're starting now. We're going to grow into this podcast thing and have fun along the way. I'm glad that you're here day one rocking with me if you are tuning into this right now. But AOC was definitely a bright spot. I loved what I saw from him, again, coming back from the injury, and to just know that he's going to be with us for a couple more years. If we go and get another quarterback, he's going to be that's a great feeling to have that great of a backup quarterback. And I really liked his mindset too. He didn't start out the game awesome. He missed out on some plays, and I'm sure there's lots that he would have liked to take back. A lot of guys, if they're mentally weak, they'll kind of tank, and ride. You don't see him riding up and down this emotional train, roller coaster, if you will, and come back and have a game like he ended up having. Loved seeing that. And then obviously there was the terrible play at the end of the game. He took it on the chin in the press conference. I know that's kind of his job, and that's the right thing to do as any player. Say, hey, it's on me. That's all on me. Don't, not point the finger to anybody else. But he didn't even insinuate it. A lot of guys will say all the right things in a press conference, but their tone or the very particular set of words or phrases that they say does inadvertently kind of throw people under the bus. It's a nod and a wink type situation. He took it straight on the chin, and I don't think it was fully on him. Maybe it was, and I just kind of went by his word. But as I've been tuning into other people and looking at the play, and a lot of people are saying, hey, Parham is not supposed to tap until he sees that the quarterback is back facing and ready. I don't know. But I do know that he took it on the chin, and he said, hey, that was the toughest part to swallow, is the fact that it's nobody's fault but mine. But he didn't really seem bothered by it. He didn't seem like it didn't feel like, oh, this is hard for him. And I don't know I don't know enough about him. I haven't tuned into enough of his press conferences or podcasts or anything. I know he was on Max Crosby's podcast, but I didn't tune into that. So I don't really know if he's just kind of stoic all the time and doesn't show much emotion, or it was just easier to swallow and didn't seem upset because he balled out. And there is a little bit of that psychology as a football player, that it's a win hurts a lot more if you also played like dog crap. And that just is what it is, because it is your job. It's not just wins or losses. And I don't care how I played. You care how you play. You take pride in your damn job. It takes your entire focus. Yes, you do care. And that does make it, if you balled out, it makes the loss it still sucks. And Raiders fans know losing sucks sometimes more than winning is awesome. But it takes the sting out of it a little bit if you went out there and put up some big numbers and made some big splash plays. He threw some big splash plays to Bowers, which was cool and one of the bright spots, because, Bowers always is. We're always going to highlight Bowers, and we have every single game this year. He's amazing and really consistent, but it was cool to see that when he has a situation where a quarterback is in the zone and stays in the zone and is slinging it all game, Bowers has even greater numbers and has even better games. It's not just that he had this stat padded situation because he's the only threat on offense. And no, like when he has a quarterback that's out there slinging it and is in the zone, he's ripping even harder, and his numbers are even better. And he's just, dude, that guy's out there consistent, big splash plays, balling and having fun. I loved his celebration in the end zone. But yeah, and then the other piece of it, Sincere McCormick, man, not just the way he runs, which I love, but the story of it, because it kind of looks like he's been a practice squad range player for a couple of years, and you really only get a 3 years sometimes to be a practice squad guy before, if you don't get your shot, or you do and you don't perform, then you kind of get pushed out of the league. I like that because the mindset it takes. It's really hard to be on practice squad. You're not getting paid a lot of money. At least when I was playing, maybe those guys were breaking right over $100,000, and comparatively to all these guys making millions and millions of dollars, it's not like life-changing money for a lot of those guys, and they're out there just hoping to get their shot. And there's a lot that kind of has to go right or wrong, depending on how you look on it, injuries and things, for you to actually get your opportunity. And so to see, outside of preseason, getting in a real game, to see him have had to have stayed strong mentally to be ready to go out and ball that way. Because even if you're doing it in practice, you're doing great as a practice squad guy, and you're balling, you're doing that. It's just, they're still not probably going to give you your chance just based on practice performance, unless something opens up like injuries. So to see him go out there and do that, I love stories like that. Stories where guys had to have grit and fortitude and grind in the dark room for a while, and when they get their shot, they go for it. And he's running hard like his career depends on it, because it does. And I love seeing guys run hard in general. And he's plays big, and he's not big. No, I'll take that back. A lot of football guys will kind of 1-to-1 size and be like, oh, well, because I looked up his size on Wikipedia. I think he's listed at 5'9", but he was 5'8.5" at the combine, 205 pounds. 205 pounds on 5'8" and change, that's actually a pretty big dude. That's a compact, boulder, stocky dude. Especially because if he's a halfback, he's probably a pretty lean guy. You're not going to be carrying a lot of fat he's probably pretty lean, meaning he has a lot of muscle packed onto that frame, and he plays big. So he is big. It's not 1-to-1 in size, in that, what I mean by that, say if you got two linebackers, they're both 6'3", 240, standing next to each other, you'll look at one and be like, that's a very different that guy's way bigger, even though the scale doesn't say it. And even if the body fat is the same on both, you still look at one and be like, that the way the weight is proportioned, and there's, since leaving the NFL, I've always been a big workout guy. I've learned about bodybuilding things and just body structure. And there's bone structure, there's length of limbs. Like Khalil Mack is a good example. I think I've talked about him before. He's maybe 6'2.5", I think. I think he was at the combine about 6'2.5", but he, was like 270 pounds. But he's got legs that are probably up to my rib cage and super long arms. And so you would look, we're probably close to the same height, but you would look at him and us like, no, that dude's that's a big man. And he is a lot bigger than me too, weight wise. But I'm just saying that if they're the same on the scale, it's not always the same. And that big doesn't always play the same way. But that dude plays big. Sincere McCormick, I sincerely like the way that he runs, pun intended, and love that, he got his shot and ran with it. And he deserves to, just the way he's running, the energy it brings beyond just the numbers, going over 5 yards of carry and all that. He's running in a way that is bringing some energy and deserves more carries. Let's see what he can do with more carries. We got some injuries at the position. Let's just see what he does. I think he should get the ball more. On that, I don't know if I mentioned that at the top of the video, but the outcome of this game, it couldn't have gone better for the people that are Team Tank. Tanking isn't real. I'm not going to digress today. I talked about that enough in the past, but it's like you get to be in position basically to go smack the Chiefs and beat them and put yourself in position too, and then fumble it right at the last play of the game and, not get a win on the record so you can still be in the hunt for some rookie savior, I'm not going to set myself up for depending on and hoping and taking the risk, because every single pick is a risk. Even the number 1 overall draft pick is a risk, and that's been proven many, many times in the NFL. They don't always pan out. A lot of them bust, and especially a lot of them bust compared to your expectations of making them the savior, setting yourself up for resentment there. But there's also kind of this mindset too with and I get it, and the fans have the right to vent and do the thing. They're what makes this whole thing go around and feeds the NFL and keeps franchises going and all that. They've been following a long time, and you're frustrated by losses for decades, and it's like, well, I'm not even going to watch them anymore. And I just think, man, you're missing out on so much if you don't tune into your squad. You're only going to tune back in once they start winning again, because there's really, the way I see it, there's an honor in being a fan of a team and riding with them in the mud, I kind of liken it to, I know I've talked about this before, I love those players that are kind of foaming at the mouth every play, and what you're going to expect from them every single play, whether you've knocked them on their can several times throughout the game or they're down 50. They don't ride the momentum of any of that. They're going to be coming at you, and it's going to be a dogfight every play, and they start to take your will. I like those fans. It's like your buddy that should be, all upset and, bend the knee and say, yeah, we suck. You guys are way better than us. And he just won't let you have it. And he won't let you take his joy. They had 1 touchdown all game, and he'll be like, yeah, you remember that touchdown though? Yeah, you remember that touchdown, baby? You can't hang with us. And they're down 40. That's the way I see it. I'm going to find all the things to celebrate, because there's always going to be some. There's always going to be, you can look to Brock Bowers and JPJ and how AOC played, and just see into the future of, man, we got so much great football ahead of us. We've got these building blocks. And I also think you're kind of missing out on that badge of honor that you get to have when things turn around, because the reality is things are going to turn around for us. Every dog has its day. The Lions have been bad from everybody's memory that's maybe alive on earth. They've always been bad. And the past couple of years, you get to see what happens when you bring in a good coach with a good, tough attitude that's a good leader and can instill that attitude and mindset and culture into an organization. And you don't just push him out or put way too much pressure on him that he's going to get pushed out if he has a bad year on the first year like Dan Campbell did. and let him build it the way he wants to for a few years, that you get what the Lions are becoming now. And that's coming for us. I mean, look at it. We're bringing in Brady as a minority owner, Richard Seymour. We got guys that have been world class at the NFL level and just successful in general in life, that are taking a vested interest in the Raiders. It's a matter of time for us. We're going to get there. So let's ride with them through and through the whole way, in the mud, and when we're at the top of the hill, man. That's how I see it, because it's kind of, for me, it almost feels like a bandwagon mindset. It's not a bandwagon, but if you're saying, "Oh, I'm a fan of this team, but screw it, I'm not even gonna watch them until they start winning," it's like, are you really a fan? You know, it's like, let's rock through and through. Let's be that loyal friend that's gonna back you up in any fight. They'll never take my will. You know, I'm gonna be rocking Raiders. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, I think that's mostly it on the Raiders stuff. There's more I could talk about. Trying to remember what else is going on. I guess, again, it's Thanksgiving time. Can't remember if I mentioned this at the top of the video. I was on TJ Samoan Raider podcast recently, or we did a live together. Some of y'all might have tuned in. I don't know. Let me know. And go follow him if you're not. He puts out a lot of great Raiders content. But he said, "Hey, what's your big three, man?" I was like, "Big three, okay, of Thanksgiving stuff. You can only fill your plate with 3 things." I was like, "Ooh, that's a great question, actually." Okay, I'm a big stuffing guy, number 1. 2, I got to pick a protein, so it's going to be honey baked ham. Not a big turkey guy. Let's be honest, you got to really like dress a turkey up, or turducken it, or stuffing it full of stuff, and have just the right person to, not make it dry. It's a dry. I like the idea of turkey, but actually eating it, not so much. And then, sweet potato pie, if I can get those melted marshmallows on the top, I'm so game on that. Those 3, I'm happy. What hit me below? Let me know what your guys' big 3 was. And then, saw Moana last night with the family. First full family trip to the movie theaters. My daughter's 2.5. Can't trust that she wasn't going to be yelling and screaming, but she killed it. So fun to watch. They're watching the movie. My wife and I are just watching our kids' faces taking the movie. It's so fun. The best part of it, my son loves Maui. And Moana 2, though, I will say, it's good. It's a fun ride, but it wasn't Moana 1. I felt like they tried to force at least 3 characters that there wasn't really much backstory on. There wasn't really much of a completion of the character arc throughout, and you just didn't care about them a ton as an audience. And I felt like it almost felt like the first one felt more like, oh, you got to go through these different levels of different bad guys, more so compared to the second. But go check it out. Still fun time. That's it for me today. I think I've emptied my brain. I'm going to try to empty my brain more often. Now I think I know I need to go empty my butt. I've actually, believe it or not, this entire time had to poop pretty bad. Which I think, now that I'm saying that out loud, it's more impressive to have told you now, because you might have watched that whole thing and thought, dude, that was a pretty good podcast. But now that, I know that he was holding in a dump that whole time, that's world class, because that would be pretty distracting for a lot of people, but not this guy. I'm committed. So I just thought you should know it. And I'll catch you on the next time. Episode 1, this was, and episode 2 should be coming shortly. Peace out.